Hello folks, hope you're doing well today. It's just gone 2:45 on the 8th of June 2020. Well, in the UK there's been some pulling down of statues and defacing of statues. Even crowds of people shouting out that Churchill is a racist, or was a racist, either way. Utter lunacy. And what are the police doing? Standing around doing nothing. Yeah, I swear that there's got to be a situation where the head of police of the whole UK has to be sacked, where the police chiefs of all these different regions had to be sacked. Get rid of the whole lot of them. Get rid of the whole lot of them. They're absolutely shameful. I mean, the statue that was pulled down was in Bristol, and the Bristol head of police I don't know what his name was, but okay. He was basically making all these stupid excuses. Oh, by the time they were putting the statue down, we couldn't get anywhere near it because of the crowd of people. Yeah, but you saw them turn up. You saw them with their hooks trying to pull this thing down. You had all that opportunity to go in and stop them, arrest them for what they were doing. They were defacing public property. That's a criminal offence. Yeah, I mean, it's getting absolutely ridiculous. You've got this organisation called Black Lives Matter, which is a racist, purely racist organisation. That's what it is. Let's call it out for what it is. It's racist. Because that's what it is. It's absolute lunacy. And people are tiptoeing around them so carefully. They don't want to say, yeah, but why don't you say lives matter? Yeah, why is it just Black Lives Matter? Yeah, certainly in America, white people get killed by the police and abused by the police all the time. But only Black Lives Matter? I mean, I imagine if you did a bit of homework, you'd probably find that there are a lot of pink-skinned people, say white, pink-skinned people, who had had their necks knelt on by police for a considerable amount of time. As I said the other day, in the video the other day, that this officer wasn't the first one to come out with the idea of kneeling on somebody's neck or head. He wasn't the first one to do that. Police have been doing that for decades. And there will be white people, and there will be black people, or brown people, and pinkish people. Whatever you want to say it, but I prefer we stop calling each other white and black, because we're not white. I'm not white. And most of the people that call themselves black are certainly not black. They're brown. So all this racial tones, if you are brown skinned and you want to keep using racial tones, stop accusing pinkish people of being racist when you yourself are clearly racist. Stop being blinking hypocrites. If you want there to be positive racism, that's still racism, it's still racist. So stop bringing all this crap. Either you hate racism or you don't. What you're saying is really you hate the racism that can be afflicted against you and people that look like you. But you don't hate racism, you only hate that racism. Let's be honest. And all this point about defacing properties and shouting that war heroes are racist. Again, you're looking at a completely different period. You're looking at something that was going on 80 flipping years ago. Right, 1940s. The war started in 1940s, so around 80 years ago when Churchill came to power. When he became the Prime Minister and led us in war. Well, again, 80 flipping years ago. You're telling us that today's standards should be used 80 years ago. You're a complete moron. You are an absolute moron. I really do hope with all these people that use this crap and try and do this, that the standards of 20 years' time would be used against them and that they'd be thrown in prison for something they've tweeted or something they've said now. because they seem to think it's okay to judge others in the past by the principles that we have now. Just be thankful, folks. We have moved forward in certain areas. Great. It doesn't mean we have to rubbish everything from the past because of that. I mean, one thing I'm glad about the Bible is that the Bible is pure as it was written from those days, and I take it purely as it's written. So when it's talking about homosexuality and sexual sin, I say, yeah, okay, that's what it is. I'm not going to try and pretend that isn't the case just because society has changed. Now, brilliant. All these morons on the left, you continue spouting your crap. When you die, you will go to hell. Right? Because you're going to be saying and you're going to be believing that the Bible is wrong because of what it says about homosexuals. And therefore, you don't believe in God. So, okay, that's up to you. But you'll still be judged. You'll still come before God. The same way you are judging people from the past for what they did with the understanding they had then. You feel it's okay to judge them. Cool. You'll be judged. And you will spend eternity in hell. So you yourself will be pulled down to hell. Don't try and keep doing this. It's stupid. You're dragging society in a direction that it's not going to work. Okay? Chewie, shut up. This is Lucy walking past you, Muppet. Quiet down. What's going to happen? I mean, what has happened really is that the left has been taken over for quite a while. And then what's happened is that the right has flexed its muscle and we've got Trump. Right? We've got Trump in, we've got Boris in. Because the left, certainly in the UK, we had Labour who were going bizarre in the election. Promising things that they would never be able to do. Because the cost would be extraordinary. And of course, the previous Labour leader, Corbyn, then started saying, his maths were fine because, of course, once the COVID-19 struck and the British government then furloughed a lot of businesses, they spent about the same amount of money doing that as he would have done doing his thing. And he then said, well, he could have done his thing and afforded to then. Excuse me, you flipping moron. You couldn't. Because there would have still been a coronavirus even if you'd have won the bloody election, you moron. These people on the left are idiots. They've had it their way for so long. They are getting to the point of being complete morons and coming up with moronic things and doing these moronic things because they've had it their way for so long. It's going to bite you in the butt, folks. It really is. If you think that having Trump and Boris is bad, you just wait. The pendulum always swings back. And for years, the people on the right had it. Men were in control of everything. Men got everything. When a couple separated, the men always got the children if they wanted them. But then that swang back to the point where men now really don't even have visitation rights, but are expected to pay for their child without actually having the right to actually even see their flipping child. That's the way society has gone. It reversed completely. Now we have a situation where the left is in complete control, so the pendulum is right on the left. What's going to happen, folks? You keep pushing. It's going to swing and it's going to go right to the top of the right side. And you are going to hate it. I'm going to flipping hate it because I don't like the right as much as I don't like the left. I hate all of you. All of you with all these extremist views, I hate everything you say. There's nothing really that you say that's of any worth at all. If it's extremist, nothing is of any worth. going in one direction clearly is never a good idea. Because we had a situation before within society where men got the children, even if the men weren't suitable to have the children, and the women would have been better off. The children would have been better off with the mothers. Now we have a situation where women get the children every time, even if the woman is an absolute nightmare of a human being. She still gets the kids, right? I mean, men have had to pay for children that aren't even theirs. Even when they prove they're not even theirs, they still have to pay for them. Because the children believe that person is daddy, so that man still has to pay for the children, even though they're not actually his. It's absolutely insane. But again, we don't want it to go in the opposite direction, because that's not going to be any use. That's not going to be great for the kids. Why on earth can't judges or people dealing with the child care situation judge up a situation that's in front of them? Why can't they actually say, oh, actually, that's a good point. The father seems to be that he would be a better person to look after the kids right now. And the kids would prefer to be with the father. So therefore, that's where they're going. In some circumstances, that does happen. But I tell you, for that to happen, yeah, the woman has to do a lot of things that are wrong for that to happen. That shouldn't be the case, because that's damaging kids. But again, that's the point. Society goes to extremes and into extremes and into extremes and into extremes. We're at an extreme. We've been at an extreme for a long time, where they're pushing things. I said the other day, in the video about that I feel sorry for the protesters, or the protesters are in a tough place, that the left has been pushing this victim mentality amongst homosexuals, the LGBTQ, about these people that don't want to be counted as female or male, but they or them or squiggle or wiggle, whatever they want to be blinking or called, as a gender. And of course, they make them into victims. And the coronavirus has really upset that, hasn't it? So Blinken or the left were praying, absolutely praying, for some poor brown-skinned person to be abused and killed by the police. I think you can say that with absolute certainty. They were praying for something like that to happen because of the fact that their agenda was being taken over by Rona, by the COVID-19. Oh dear, they were losing money, weren't they? Hey, they were losing support, they were losing money. But of course, as soon as that happened, lovely money coming in. Oh, yes. Black Lives Matter suddenly back right on the top of the news again. Oh, they absolutely love it. They're pulling down statues in the UK, even though what happened didn't happen anywhere near the UK. To say it's an overreaction is a massive underestimation of the situation. Absolutely, it's just people taking advantage. They see an opportunity like the left, as I say, oh my Lord, they're wringing their hands, they love it, they love it. They've got this lovely money coming in again, and they're at the top of the agenda again, and they push COVID-19 behind again, because now people are marching, sod COVID-19. Sod that policeman was out of order, killed a brown-skinned person, so we're going out protesting now. Sod the fact that we could be spreading this virus and killing a load of old people. Who cares? I said you've then got the police being absolutely pathetic. All these situations where you've had looters, you just have police standing by. They're breaking the law. And yet, you then get police driving through crowds of people in their cars. To say the police are a mess, generally speaking, is not an understatement. Because where they've been called to actually act in the right way, they haven't done so. That's in the UK and America. and probably other countries as well. The thing of it is, if you live in the UK, you see what happens in America, you see what happens in the UK, you don't really see what happens in Germany and France and places like that. They will. But, oh, God, it's a stupid, utterly blinking stupid situation. No, I mean, as I said, I said the other day in a video that I did that I could not be an evangelist because I couldn't be dealing with these morons. These absolute muppets. I couldn't be dealing with them in any way, shape or form. I just want to smack them around the head. Anyone from the left, I mean, even this copper who comes out of this stuff, smack the beard right off his face. Yeah? What a moron. Coming out saying they couldn't get near to stop the people from pulling the statue down. You're the police, you muppet. You get near when you bloody well want to, don't you? That's what people are saying on Twitter. Yeah? This officer is acting like he's proud of what happened in Bristol. He's pretending that they couldn't get near, but really he wanted all this. Why would he want it? I don't know. I mean, the statue that was pulled down was of a man who was apparently a slave owner for a time, but I think he was also someone who helped to deal with slavery as well. And Churchill, his family may have been involved in the slave trade at some point in history. So let's forget the fact that you got the country through the Second World War, which was a really tough thing for a very, 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 very small country. Where the whole of blinking Europe was pretty much taken over by Germany, and we were trying to stop Germany as a country. There's a little tiny nation with just a sea of water between us and all that. And we did most of it without the help of the Americans and the Russians. Only right at the end did the Americans and Russians actually bother to come in, and then they try to take all the glory for it. Whereas England stood against that from day one. And got battered for it as a nation. And yet forget that this man helped the nation to get through all that, which was not an easy task to do. Let's write on his statue that he was a racist. Let's spray paint that on there. You absolute morons. You really are absolute morons. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we could just find out who these people are, and then when they die, we can go and write on all of their gravestones moron. Spray out their name, just write moron over it. That's how I feel about that situation. It's insane. All this is insane, but people are doing this, and I don't get it. Why on earth do you want to push things to extreme? All this rubbish that's been going on about that there's no gender, and there's been people saying that what genetics was it? No, what's it called? Is it basically all sexual stuff has nothing to do with gender? What? Excuse you? You said what? You said what? For over 2,000 years, that's the way it's been. But because you've got these people who say, we're not sure if we want to be called male or female or squiggly wiggly woo woo, that we now say, well, there's no gender. No, there's no gender. I can't remember what the scientific thing is that looks at all that stuff, as in what makes a man, and a woman, a woman. There is something that looks into it. I'm not really in the frame of mind to think about that right now. It's a bit of a rant. I would agree. It's a bit of a rant, yes. Yeah. But it's a crazy situation. But as I say, I'm not someone who is keen on the right having all their way either. Because that doesn't make sense in society. It doesn't make sense to live in a society where women are subject to the men. It doesn't make sense where one gender is getting everything. So all this rubbish about equal pay, they've not looked at equal pay. They don't care about equal pay because they know that pay is equal. What they want is for women to get paid the same as men, whether they do as much work, whether they're doing the same job, whether they take time off to raise kids. They still want that yearly amount, even if they've taken 4 months off to have a child. They want that yearly amount, and they want to be able to get promoted even if they take time off to have children, and therefore haven't done as much jobs, haven't done as much of the job, so therefore really shouldn't be promoted. But they want none of that to matter. They just want it to be the case that women are seen as paid equally to men, to paid the same as men. So not equally, paid the same. For less work, doesn't matter. Not doing the same job, doesn't matter. So basically, a nurse should earn the same as a brain surgeon, even though a brain surgeon has had to study far longer, has had to do so much more work to get to where he got to. And the specialist nature of that job, don't worry about it. That's fine. He works in a hospital, he works that many hours, he gets that money, but the woman should get the same amount of money because she's working in a hospital and she's helping to save lives as well. The fact that the jobs are completely flipping different doesn't seem to matter. So people are arguing this, and it's like, oh God, for goodness sake, again, we've had this understanding in society for years and years and years and years and years that, if you have to do all this training for your job, generally speaking, you'll get paid more. If your job is a more specialist area, you'll get paid more because there's more of a demand for it. Because there's not as many people doing it. It's like if you want to buy something online and there's hardly any of it at all, the price goes up. If there's tons of it, the price comes down because there's a lot more of it available. So if you want to hire a shop assistant, for example, a shop assistant, whether they're male or female, will get a far lower wage than a shop manager because you don't need as much experience to be a shop assistant. But that's the thing, is that these people that are asking for unequal pay for women aren't really concerned about any of that at all in their argument. And it's completely nonsensical. Completely and utterly nonsensical. I've seen videos of them arguing in front of politicians, and their arguments have been absolutely ridiculously stupid. When they're challenged about it, they then say, oh, we haven't got the information. Excuse me, you've known about this. You're going to be coming in front of these people for months, even years, and you haven't brought the information with you? You didn't think you'd be questioned about this stuff? It's all insane. It really is. It's all insane, but this is the way society has gone. This is where it is right now. And as I've said before, I think there's the politicians and the rich and powerful people, they love it. They love it because they can get us all focused on this nonsense, on this absolute stupidity, and we don't look at the things that really matter. Because we're being distracted all the time by this rubbish over here. So they love it. Absolutely love it. Like, you've got politicians who are complete morons, not doing what they should be doing. Like you've got with the UK politicians, the people that did the plan for the lockdown, and then the ones who are breaking the lockdown rules. But of course, it doesn't matter because people are now defacing Churchill statues. So all that stuff that was on Mr. Cummins for what he was doing has now suddenly vanished, gone away. He's been let off the hook now because of all this stuff. So he's loving it. Oh, all the politicians, they love it because then they can muck up and they can, not do the things that they should be doing. It doesn't matter because we're not even looking. because we're looking at all that stuff instead. This is weird. Just looked at Twitter. They've got trending in the United Kingdom, 31st of July. It's the 8th of June. Why would the 31st of July be trending in the United Kingdom? What the heck is going on then? What on earth is that? What the heck? Oh, right. Oh, because apparently they've extended, is that called shielding? To the 31st of July, whatever shielding is. I say in the UK, pubs reopen 22nd of June. Now, someone saying pubs reopening in England 22nd of June is far, far too soon. We just extended shielding to the 31st, whatever that means. I have no idea what the shielding thing means, but I found that weird. Sorry, I just got a bit distracted by that because that's weird. Yeah. People found it weird. There's one person said 31st of July trending. First thing I thought, that was Harry Potter's birthday. Why on earth would it be trending? Weird. Yeah, it was Edward Colson's statue. It became a flashpoint for protesters in the UK. I'm going to find out who this Edward Colson chap was. Right, he's a civil rights activist. No, sorry. Sorry, no, it wasn't. Okay. A statue of the 17th century slave trader was pulled down and dropped. But I'm guessing it wasn't just a slave trader. But they're suggesting a civil rights activist, Paul Stevenson, as a possible replacement. Just put his one back up. Make it again. Someone's put underneath Black Lives Matter. Yeah. All lives matter. Morons. I'm going to bear with me a second, please, folks. I'm going to try and find out who this person actually was. He was a merchant of some sort. Right, okay. It was a slave trader, but generally speaking, a lot of people were in those days. He was born in 1636, so of course the understanding of everything in those days was completely different to what it is now, obviously. Oh yeah, they chucked his statue in the river. And they've got all these people on video. Arrest them. Arrest the whole bloody lot of them. Stick them in prison. Jesus. He was a merchant in initially wine, fruits, clothing, mainly in Spain, Portugal, and other European ports. In 1680, he became heavily involved in the slave trade through his membership in the Royal African Company, which held a monopoly of the British trade in African slaves. He became deputy governor and the highest office, blah, 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 blah. Yep. Used his wealth to support and endow schools, hospitals, almshouses and churches in Bristol, London and elsewhere. His name is commemorated by several British landmarks, street schools, and Colston Bun, whatever that is. Okay. So he was a slave trader, but he was also someone who tried to actually benefit the people in his area. Yeah. But he was alive at a time when most people were slave traders, so, or certainly people of power. There was very, very few who were against it. So it's like, okay. With that being the case, I said it's done. I mean, I would actually, if I was in charge of that plinth that the statue was on, I'd leave it empty. And I put a little message beneath saying, the people of Bristol don't deserve a statue. There you go. That's what I do. I'd say they don't deserve a statue. Thanks to the people that were protesting, you don't have a statue anymore. And you won't get another one because we can't trust that you won't just stand around while they destroy that one either. There you go, folks. I think we'll call this the leftist rant, or the rant against the left. Rant against the left. There you go. Yeah. Well, there you go. You take care. God bless, and I will speak to you soon. Hopefully not. I won't have to rant anymore. But then again, looking at people, I think it's quite likely I will. Oh, God, I just find it all so bizarre. And I always would have done. It's not just because I'm 50 now. I would have found it weird and bizarre before. It's people being... There's a lot of stupidity. I mean, as I say, they've made... Sorry to continue this, but just one point. I've probably said this in other ones, but I mean this in this way, talking about the left. What they don't seem to understand is in the past 20, 30 years, say a bit longer, maybe, so yeah, 30 years. In the past 30 years, we've made so many changes in society, in our beliefs and our understandings within society, that in no time in history has that many changes been made in such a short space of time. Yeah, the amount of changes we've had in with regards to technology has been incredible. Yeah, certainly the last 70, 80 years has been incredible, the amount of changes we've made. Yeah, give people a chance to catch their breath. And the problem is they're not doing it. They're not giving people a chance to catch their breath. Give people a chance to rebalance. Because you're expecting us all to go massively over to the left. And of course, there's going to be people that don't want to do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go all the way to the right either. Somewhere neatly, nicely in the middle is perfect. I'm going to sit there. Thank you very much. I will sit very nicely in the middle and I will try and weigh up situations as I see them. All this rubbish. I don't care. I've had situations on Twitter where I've said things and I've had people trying to have a go at me about it. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, yes, it's great fun. Tearing these people a new one. It's great. It really is. I mean, certainly if I've had a bad day, there you go. These people, they're going to get all of it. If they're saying stupid stuff, I'm sorry, folks, but you open the door. There you go. Oh, well. You take care. God bless, and I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.